All right, it's 6:30.
Yes.
Dirk is unable to make it. He's away on business, so
Oh,
I will call to order this meeting of the Nottingham Planning Board, November 19th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the Municipal Building, Conference Room 1. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Somebody like to volunteer to lead that?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so this meeting is a workshop meeting. The goal here is to go over the zoning ordinance amendments that we've been working on the past handful of meetings. So we've made some progress on a...
Skip.
What's that? Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, first, I'm going to seat Skip Severns for Dirk Grotenhuis, because I know he's not going to be here.
Okay.
And also, I'd like to have the members go around and introduce themselves as well.
sure. Skip Severns, alternate.
John Decker, BOS, right?
Adam Ryan, planning board member.
Drew Stevens, Vice Chair.
Danny Arsenal, board member.
All right, thank you,
I'm
everyone.
tired, I forgot my name for a second.
It's one of those days. I feel it. I feel it.
Who am I?
What am I doing here? Is this CIP? What are we doing?
Yeah. Which one?
So, like I said, this is a workshop meeting. We are trying to work through the zoning amendments, many of which that we've worked on so far are kind of required amendments due to state legislative actions that are requiring us to bring our ordinances up to date. We have, for the past couple of meetings, worked on these bit by bit. Some are further along than others. But the goal here is to try to get these to a point where they can be moved to the public hearing that will take place on December 10th. And we have two public hearings scheduled right now, December 10th and December 17th. So this is, I'll just say this is only the second zoning season I've been through. So those of you, Skip, you've done this a time or two before. So if, you don't mind lending your your experience just to make sure that we're staying on track with what we should be doing. One of my big questions is at what point does it make sense for us to send some of these to legal counsel for review? When does that happen? Is it because I know once the public hearings are done, that's how it goes on the ballot, right? Like that's that.
That's how it has to go. Yeah. So, prior to notice, and when I say prior to notice, enough time for the lawyers to go through it and look at it and stuff. I don't know what we're running these days, but probably a week or two.
Yeah. So
we're kind of like there for the first public hearing on December 10th.
right.
So any that we can knock out tonight that would be that we can knock out tonight would be a good time to get them knocked out and head to legal and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
My assumption would be if we're taking stuff straight out of the state statutes, those don't need to be run by legal.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I'm hoping we can just reference the RSA and be done with it personally,
Right.
but,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those would be easy, but some of the other ones, wording is a big deal.
Yeah. Right.
And conveying the thoughts that we have towards what we wrote is typically difficult.
Yes. Ambiguity is a beast.
Yes. Yep. So,
Okay. Thank you. That is helpful. So in your binders that are in the box over there, we have the draft amendments that we've been working through.
Right, the other section, other and
The
other.
very last case/other. Yes, that's right. So the way that I think would be best to conduct this so that everybody gets a chance to input and everybody gets a chance, to discuss what they'd like to discuss, is that we will, when the floor is open, people will make motions, to discuss these individual amendments that we have before us.
Nice hat.
I'll just take a minute while the
Sorry.
currently showing up members seat themselves.
St. Patrick's Day and I missed it?
Pilgrimage. It's my pilgrim hat. The holidays. I'm
Alright.
celebrating the antiquity and values of our town, our old town. Actually, we had a
All right, so
Thanks,
what we're gonna
Jesse.
start doing now
Yes.
is jumping into our zoning ordinances.
Yeah.
And in your binder, the very last case/other section, or very last case section should have those zoning amendments that we have been working on. I'm going to try to run this meeting so that, topics are taken in order and we don't get too far off of them. And so I think the best way to do that is that when the floor is open, we will, somebody will make the motion to discuss one of these, one at a time. And then we can decide what we'll do with that during that discussion and take it kind of piece by piece. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All right. So it's my preference that we would start with the zoning amendments that we have already been working on and work through those first. But, with that, I will open up the floor to the board, to make a motion to discuss a certain item.
So, the first one here is the uses allowed in the various districts, is that what you have? Okay.
That's what I have, yes.
And so the question is, does the town want to add or subtract uses in any districts? Town center does not allow home occupation and commercial does not allow manufacturing. Should the town allow mixed-use structures, residential above retail shop in any districts? And I guess those have been added into these, from what I can tell, appropriately, or? I'm pretty sure that's what has happened, right?
As long as I see warehousing in the commercial permitted uses, it would seem. I don't. It doesn't seem to be captured in there, right?
Right.
Okay, this does seem to be just a copy and
Yeah,
paste
yeah.
of the current
Very
allowed
the
uses.
Last case.
It says draft up top.
Right.
Mine doesn't.
Hey, I'm
So-
looking, trying to.
Alright, so town center.
I think we should at least put in warehousing in section E. Was there some other, I feel like was it like warehousing and manufacturing that was?
Yeah, manufacturing and warehousing
Okay,
were the two that were suggested to be added.
yeah.
So, HIJ. Well, actually, by special exception, should keep pushing down the way, I would think. So there'd be a new I. You wanna call that manufacturing?
Sure, that sounds
Water,
good.
sewer, and the commercial.
Yeah, we're tackling the one that we know we need to first. So I, manufacturing,
J is warehousing.
yep. And then change the current I to K.
K.
Has everybody got that? Everybody understand what the suggested change there is?
Yep.
Okay, so for something like this, instead of just doing an entire motion for us to accept the change, I'm gonna, ask for any objections. We're gonna do it by consent, right? So does anybody have any objections to adding in section E in the commercial industrial zones, accepted uses, item I for manufacturing, item J for warehousing, and then changing the current item I to be item K? Are there any objections to that?
I don't have any objections. My only comment to that is this is a time to add more,
Yeah.
Right.
and
Okay.
we'll never be up to date with the latest whatever it is that's going on.
Sure.
So, now's a good time to add more.
Yeah.
Do we know what?
Are there any thoughts?
So with, with no objections, we've at least added, I think, the manufacturing and warehousing part. So we've got that.
That we
I
knew
think we've
about,
all agreed
yeah.
to put that, and now we can add more if we would like.
So Skip, I think the special exception rules, industrial and other uses kind of, gives a little bit of oversight
Correct.
to anything else that people may be wishing to do.
Right. And personally, I thought that was the saving grace for Nottingham Park and everything else.
Mhm.
And if you wanna come in with a special exception, you come in with a special exception.
They allow mixed use, like, is that what the issue is? They have mixed use in the commercial district, or?
No, we have to add that. That was one of the, or not mixed use, I'm sorry, but multifamily.
Okay,
The reason that this came about was that the Nottingham Business Park, when they were going through a site review process with us to get essentially to get the roof put on and get some other things buttoned up on their site, they pointed out to us that the manufacturing and warehousing operations that they planned to do weren't covered, and they had to go to the zoning board to get a special exception for that. And they were saying that just added cost and complication to the project, and the board at the time discussed and thought that it was a good idea to add that in as an accepted use, because that seemed kind of obvious for a commercial operation. So other ones, right, we, like Mr. Griswold said, the zoning board can decide for other uses if we don't want to put anything else in there. But at least for this one, it was because it seemed like a pretty obvious use.
So I guess my question is, this is a good time to add. So are there other ones that are in there? I'm thinking mixed use. I'm thinking the multifamily housing. And one of Chris's favorites, senior
Elderly housing?
elderly housing or age-specific
Yes, right, that's the term.
housing
right,
or something
specific.
to that effect. Again, you can come in with a special exception, so I don't know how long we wanna make this list. I mean,
I certainly don't see any problem with adding residential in a commercial area.
I don't either at all,
I mean,
because.
commercial and
mixed use and
residential is horrible,
multifamily.
but if you wanna live there, well,
I will
I-
tell you that it was pulled out earlier because so many subdivisions went into this area that
Okay.
that then it became more and more difficult for commercial to exist in an area that was now built up with residential. I'm just putting that out.
But if they meet the lot size shouldn't be different.
It
If you put a residential home in a commercial zone, the lot size should not be smaller.
Right.
It should meet the commercial lot size, and therefore it's in that commercial district. Whether somebody lives there initially, whether it becomes a mixed use or whatever.
What I can tell you, and I don't know the formulas that exist, most of those subdivisions were all open space subdivisions.
Yeah.
but they're in a
that's-
residential.
They changed it to residential.
Well, but even with the open space, you're still getting the evaluation of the entire property with the lot sizes that are appropriate. I don't know how they did it,
Yeah,
okay?
I thought that they still reduced it to they changed the zoning to residential though, didn't they?
Afterwards,
Okay.
because it was, as far as I know, the 1,000-foot back line is
Mhm.
still part of all of those subdivisions, in case somebody wants to tear them all down and put in a business,
Mhm.
so.
So you don't think it's a good idea to add mixed use?
I'm not saying that, all I'm saying is it had the capability before to be residential, and residential was removed from it. It was.
That's single-family
So,
residential, is that
single-family
right?
residential, yeah. So
So
what if we put apartments? What if somebody
Well-
wanted apartments?
I was just going to point out that the new state law is that you are required to allow multifamily residential on commercially zoned land.
Right.
So we need to put that in.
So-
that way, right?
We can put it in as multifamily only, and then getting to the area stuff, Chris and I think, are both going to be having some comments on that.
Can I just throw in here that the drafts of the binder, I think are earlier drafts. Nick sent us some drafts that have multifamily in them already.
Yeah, so let's,
When did he send that? Would you mind?
He sent
Yeah,
those
it was
on
a while ago.
November 18th.
So yesterday?
He said these are the official ones that we've seen before, so maybe Blair showed them to us, but
Says-
they didn't get printed out and put
the
into
Nottingham
binders.
zoning, this, yeah, so.
Yeah, so if-
Well, I don't even have that in the binder, so
Yeah.
I was working on getting to that email, so thank you for pointing that out.
yeah,
No, thanks, Dan.
Can I
So-
make a couple comments on commercial?
and this one's on.
Well, it
page,
depends. Does it have to do with the acceptable uses for commercial? That's the topic that we're currently discussing, is this first one here.
Of course it does.
Okay, I will stop you if it strays. I'm just letting you know.
Why don't I just leave then? How about that?
No, that is not the idea. It's to give everybody a chance to
All right,
express their opinion. And so
subject to your opinion of what I'm talking about.
that's not, no,
Okay.
that is not what I'm saying. I'm telling you, what we are currently discussing is this zoning amendment. And you can discuss anything you want related to this, but if you're off, we are going to come back to it, okay?
I'm in the real estate business, by the way, in case anybody didn't know that, 45 years. So I do see real estate every day, and I know a little bit, I do a lot of research here. So our commercial base in the town is like 3% of the town, okay? It's the lowest in all of Rockingham County, and except for East Kingston, which it's only half a town. So the probable idea of the commercial, changing it from residential to commercial was like, hey, let's get a lot of commercial business into our town and have them pay all the taxes and keep the taxes lower. Okay, so they did have a residential area up there, they allowed that, okay? And which turned into open space, and they said, well, this is not really probably what we're looking to do, and let's change that, and let's just go back to all commercial. I don't think we should go back there, Skip, okay?
Oh, no,
I think we're gonna go,
I didn't say that, but we were talking multifamily housing. And that's why I said, no, just so everybody knows, this used to be residential, that's all.
right. So, perhaps if we're seeing the open space subdivisions, and we'll talk about Pawtuckaway Ridge because it's an approved project, and everybody has this thing about, we can't talk about projects. Yes, we can. The prices are $900,000. That's an open space subdivision. The idea of the open space subdivision was like, hey, let's make smaller lots so that we could put more housing in and make it more affordable or for the people in this town. Nobody in town can afford a $900,000 house. It's all people coming from out of state that are buying these houses, and 85% of our people, I have these documented numbers. I could tell you, I could show you these numbers, okay? 85% of the people in this town are selling a house and moving out of the town. And 85% of the people are moving in from out of town and out of state. So if we want to have some sort of affordable housing or something that a person on our fire department can afford, or a teacher can afford, a policeman can afford, we have workers in our fire department, they're making, one of them lives out by Peterborough, right? If there's an emergency, hey, can you come into work today? You know, we have an emergency, we need extra staff or something. They can't even afford to live in this town. And so if we're gonna put housing there, let's not do the open space subdivision. Let's not do that again. I think that would be a bad idea. Let us put multifamily up there. Let us put a density up there that can actually be affordable and workable. Let's think about multifamily in, like up in Dover or Somersworth, one of those towns. They put this little house subdivision, 46 lots, 46 houses. They're tiny, like 600 square feet each. They rent for $1,500 a piece. A young family can afford that. A single person can afford that, etc. You know, maybe we have a high density, we can have single families, but it's a multifamily cluster of houses. You know, we should look at like a
condominium.
tiny house subdivision as a multifamily. Bunch of detached.
Mr. Evans, I'm sorry, this is starting to stray a bit from the current, you know, if you have a suggestion for what we need to add to the multi-use, you know,
Yeah,
that,
multifamily should be in there. We should not do residential, except that if we do some sort of cluster, if we redefine multifamily as age, you know, like a tiny house subdivision, I have an age-friendly subdivision thing I put together.
so what we're talking about is changing the permitted uses, the uses allowed for the different districts. We're not adding a new district right now. We're talking about this amendment in particular, right?
Yeah.
So if you have suggestions on what we can do to further what you're talking about by adding uses here, right? So like, for example, the commercial industrial zone, we need to add multifamily dwellings to that because the state has passed a law requiring that, right? So we're putting that in there.
Yeah.
So if you have other suggestions on what we could put into the residential, commercial, industrial zone or town center district, that's currently
Check.
what we've got.
I would make a comment that we should maybe think about changing the setbacks in the commercial zone.
That's
because-
not in here. That's not what we're talking about. We're
agenda.
talking about
Okay.
the current allowed uses, Chris, okay? Mr.
allowed
Evans,
uses.
Okay?
Check.
We can get to that part. I'm not trying to shut you down, but we are having a very focused discussion on each one of these zoning amendments so that the
Right.
discussion doesn't go away into something that it's not and we get nothing accomplished, okay? So what we're dealing with right now is this first page that
Multifamily.
has to do, it's not multifamily, we're discussing the uses allowed in these different zones, one of which needs to be multifamily in the commercial industrial district, okay? Mr. Griswold.
Yep, I would like to add that, we should add mixed use to both the commercial and, town center districts.
Okay, would you, so I think the proper way for us to do this is that you should make a motion that we discuss that. And
Okay.
if somebody will second it, then we will bring that motion, you know, for discussion and figure out, you know, how it will be handled.
I would like to make a motion to add mixed use to acceptable uses in the commercial industrial zone and in the town center zone.
Second.
Okay, so there's been a motion and a second to discuss adding mixed use to the, I'm sorry, was it the commercial?
center.
The town
Town
center and the commercial industrial zone. I'll open up the floor to discussion on this motion.
Town center pretty much already says it, it just doesn't say mixed, allows residential and commercial, so what's the difference if you have them in the same building?
Because the way that the uses are defined, you can't use, like the example that I used last week of Demon's store, where it's got an apartment above it,
Yep.
that's not an allowed use right now. So, I mean,
Good, I agree.
yeah,
Liar's Paradise also has an apartment behind it.
yeah,
And the shop down the street that's now a landscaping thing, they get like, but it used to be a lumberyard, they get like apartments in there. Whatever else, I don't know what they're doing exactly over there. There's the mustard
the mustard seed.
seed.
Yep.
And I think they've got a house and maybe one or two apartments over there. So those are maybe some great examples.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And I mean, honestly, I'd like to see more things like that in the downtown area, you know, where there's both businesses and living space, you know, kind of commingled.
Some of the most beautiful towns have mostly mixed uses in their centers.
Right,
Newbury.
like, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, the old city centers of like Farmington and Dover and even Rochester, you know? I know people make fun of Rochester, but,
It's one of the
but like
towns-
the downtown area,
city,
you know,
yeah,
is
or whatever they wanna
is
call it.
vibrant.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot of camaraderie in town. You know, all the people are pretty sociable for the most part, but we don't have anywhere that's kind of a central focus, other than here and Liars, you know?
Yeah.
And I would really like to see more of a downtown kind of feel.
So would we? I agree. Do we want to identify a definition for that? Because I'm pretty sure we don't have it in our definitions. Utilize the state's definition, kind of thing? Is that not, it won't be added here, but something we would need to do to put in the definitions? Is that?
Yeah,
I think wherever we can use the state's
Yep.
stuff, we're
Mhm.
best to do.
yeah,
That
Oh,
way,
good.
when
good
it
point.
changes, we don't have to change.
Does any,
per RSA, dot, dot, dot.
Yeah.
and does anybody
know
know
that here?
offhand what the definition of mixed use is?
That's what I was gonna ask
Hang
next.
on.
Does that
I was-
specifically mean
I was
housing
starting
and
to look
commercial?
look that up,
I was
but
gonna
I
say,
haven't
I
gotten
don't
it quite yet.
Yeah, my understanding of mixed use is that it would be, you know, businesses on the bottom and smaller residential or condos or apartments up top, which also to me just
with parking.
personally seems like a great idea, because that's would lead to more, hopefully lead to some more affordable housing if developers actually take us up on the,
And I think what we could put here is see RSA empty squat,
Yeah,
rather than go for the definition.
I like that.
There is a RSA 674, 77, and 78, mixed-use development means a development consisting of residential and non-residential uses in which non-residential uses are less than 50% of the total square footage of the development and are limited to the first floor of buildings that are 2 or more stories.
I like it.
What numbers?
That's all we need.
RSA 674:77-78. And that's an effective definition as of July 1, 2026, so that's probably something that they've been fooling around with up there.
I apologize, Chris, could you, or Mr. Evans, would you mind repeating that RSA so I can get it on my notes? It was a beefy one.
State definition of effective July 1 of 2026.
Just the RSA number is all I need.
Is RSA 674:
Yep.
77-78.
Okay.
What's the dash mean? Two of
I
them?
don't know.
What does the dash mean, Chris? Two of them? Two colons?
2 sections maybe in there. There's also, let me just look at House Bill 631, give me 10 seconds here.
674,
Residential building and commercial by right.
77,
77, 78.
yeah, 76,
631?
674, 77.
There's a House,
74, 77 is called definitions,
Yeah.
so that's probably where the, floor area, so that's below grade, new construction.
Yeah, I don't see.
That doesn't,
Is it 78 then?
678 amendment, notwithstanding provision.
Doesn't
No,
seem
that's
right.
not right either. That's not right, Chris. Multifamily residential development on commercial zoned land, 674-79 maybe?
Well, he did say that it was effective 2026, so it may not be in the book.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the, I'm looking at the online. The
Okay.
RSA is Gen Court.
And which one did you say you found it on?
Not finding it.
Oh,
yet.
you haven't found it.
67479 says mixed use.
Oh, okay.
Means a type of development that combines residential, commercial, cultural, institutional, or entertainment uses within a single building or development area.
Works for me.
Okay,
So it's 674:79.
maybe go to,
Get rid of institutional.
House Bill 631, which is effective 7/1 of 2026,
Does that change the?
What's the actual RSA?
signed by the governor 7/15/2025. So this one is the one that puts multifamily in the commercial district, I believe.
So
So
multifamily, we're doing mixed use.
this is
use.
mixed use, yeah.
This one is mixed use.
Yeah, not multifamily.
It does in here have section B, mixed use development, and it gives a definition in here as well. So this is amending 67459A. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping because I'm just reading. I haven't studied this, so.
But you,
674:59A,
631
631.
is the House bill that was signed this year in,
Oh, right,
on
that's the House bill.
7/15.
But I don't,
Yeah,
I'm
what-
not worried about the House bill. I want the RSA. That's,
Yeah, what I find is 67479, and here on the, the New Hampshire General Court website, it says effective July 1st, 2026. So I think this is the one that
this
we
is
want.
right, this is current.
Yeah. So one thing I'd like to bring up is that, this mixed use definition includes entertainment. And you all should know that entertainment also includes adult entertainment. And so what we would essentially be allowing is adult entertainment venues to be opened up in the town center district,
Yeah, we don't have
which
to give them a license to operate though, do we? They can build
by
it.
right, they would be able to do that. If you don't zone for it, they would, my understanding is that the entertainment section would allow them to, allow an establishment like that. So I just wanted to bring that up. I don't have any opinions one way or another about it, but my understanding from what I've been told is that
agree with you.
if you don't have ordinances specifically spelling out where these types of places can operate in town, that means they can operate pretty much wherever any other commercial operations can. So I just want to make the board aware of that, and so that we can think about whether or not we do want to adopt this definition and what that might imply. That would take a special set of circumstances
Maybe
for
we
that to
don't
come to
put
bear.
mixed use in yet.
I'm just, that's why,
No,
these things get,
it's an awesome point you made.
there are
It's
nuances
ridiculous.
to it that we need to, think about before we just.
and that's why you don't use the New Hampshire RSA as your,
And this is an example of why you might not want to just refer to the RSA, because then if that RSA didn't say entertainment now and we just referred to it and then they changed it to say entertainment and we didn't really realize it, right? Then all of a sudden new uses would be added without us particularly, knowing or understanding that was happening unless we were really on it.
I think about the Lazy Lion in Deerfield and going over there and watching a guy playing some music and having a bite to eat and
Right,
a beer.
But that's what you think about, but by definition, that doesn't necessarily mean just
right.
that.
So by adding, there is ways we can protect against certain things like that in our.
Yeah, we
So
can,
this is outside my area of expertise, but you do have to allow something like that. I don't think you can ban it outright. But there have to be certain zones in town where it is allowed. So we could leave it to be the commercial and industrial zone where that's allowed, but the town center has maybe a little more specific mixed uses.
Where this is easy to add it right now, we can just get this portion done, wanna just add it, and then we all need to make a mental note to get on fixing that, cause I doubt there's gonna be a
That's the
lineup of
perfect
people.
way for institutional,
yeah,
amnesia to happen,
I think
for whatever to get fixed.
I think we write down the words that are there minus entertainment.
Can we modify the state's definition?
Yeah, we can
we just
adopt
copy it.
whatever
We
definition we
could
would like.
adopt, yeah.
It was just suggested that we adopt the
There was a
RSA
quick
definition.
way to
But by all means, let's just get rid of the words that
Yeah, no,
don't fit our town.
yeah, the easiest way was to just reference the RSA.
Alright,
And now we,
now we have to
that
write
we
it,
got it.
now we have to write it all out instead of referencing it, okay.
so, I'm sorry.
That's okay, this is,
This is just bugging me a little bit because, say, for example, somebody wanted to open up video rental store, you know, like a Blockbuster, not an actual Blockbuster, but you know what I mean. Would that be disallowed as entertainment?
Right, and
It-
would that guy playing the guitar be disallowed?
Right.
If we struck entertainment from the definition of
Right.
mixed use, it would not be allowed. You're correct.
Right.
So we'd have to get an even more
they're
nuanced
not
definition that
Or-
captures only certain types of entertainment.
We're gonna be your own
If you
lawyer.
look, for example, at Barrington, I think, or there are a couple towns around us, they have in their definitions of uses like half a dozen at least that deal with adult entertainment uses because they are spelling out exactly where those are allowed in town, right?
Right, and what I was thinking is that if we are required to allow it, we say it can go in the commercial district up on Route 4, and that's it.
What, so
That is
let's,
essentially what I think a lot of towns do, is put it in the
Commercial
place
industrial.
where people
The worst
don't
settle.
want it the least, I guess.
And away from typically a certain distance from churches
And
Yeah,
schools.
And schools.
and schools
family
and
residential.
that kind of stuff.
Does make for an
Typically.
interesting multifamily idea, though.
The, yeah, well,
That's how you
it's
get
certainly
multifamily.
mixed use, certainly mixed use.
Leave that there.
So maybe we don't put it in at this point because we don't have the capability to get a good enough definition at this hour. You know, maybe we put it on the list for next year to consider how to reword this. Just do it in commercial.
Well, okay,
I see the other way
so what I am agreeing with Adam in that I think that what we should do is add it and add the definition, not including entertainment, but noting that, you know, as part of a eatery or something like that, like that's an incidental use.
Here's the thing, if
So
a
then
movie
belly
fan,
dancing at a,
even
If
that-
somebody wants to make a hookah
Yeah,
bar, you
let's say,
know,
No, I just-
power to 'em.
we allow waivers in this town, like if someone wanted to
Right.
come make a move rental place, be like, hey, and the building inspector says, no, that's entertainment, he can come away, yeah, we're all gonna say, yeah, sure, get your movie rental place going.
Yeah.
So I think we add it and get rid of entertainment and we take it as the companies come. They can fill out a waiver,
I agree.
Yeah, it's just,
It's-
the,
that's just,
If it says mixed use and we have a whole list of allowed uses and entertainment is not one of them, then they might have to come in
special
for
exception,
a permit.
Well, it's the,
special exception.
right, it's the
Special
definition
exception.
of mixed use that we have to make sure is clear. Because if they pull up the state definition of mixed use, it includes entertainment.
I didn't see the entertainment one, is that,
It's 674:79,
okay, let me get that one up here.
part 2.
674,
79.
79, double I.
when I Googled, does entertainment in that definition include adult
Yeah,
entertainment?
that's a good point
Yeah,
too.
I
It's like,
have
Cause it
What's
could be a
what's the
bouncy house, like
definition?
a
What's,
a jungle gym for
right,
kids.
what's the
That's
definition of entertainment?
Trampoline park.
You know?
Yeah, something like that, trampoline park, right. We could just be really overthinking this here.
Sorry I started this, but I just wanted to
That's
put in the
problem.
definition.
That's the problem.
no, I
We
mean,
have
this
to do a
this is
definition somehow.
This is the important part.
This is the wacky stuff.
if you
This is-
don't,
this-
do this type of due diligence, then you pass something that's either not enforceable or doesn't do
Right.
what you think it does, and
Right.
you get yourself in.
And this is why the state laws are all screwed up.
Yes.
Every rule has somebody's name on it.
But they don't have the wherewithal to know about these types of things either. They're not planning people that create these laws.
They don't have to deal with the fallout of it, right?
Yeah. right.
And here we are.
So do we know what the words need to be?
Did you find a definition
I
of?
didn't get there yet, so.
I'm feeling left out. I should have brought my
Search.
computer.
Entertainment.
well, 674-79 says mixed use means a type of development that combines residential, commercial, cultural, institutional, and then there's or entertainment uses within a single building or development area Do we want to simply omit entertainment?
I
I
would
think
say
that's what we're,
cultural
uses.
also.
that is what we're discussing right now, and we're trying to find if there is a definition in the RSAs of entertainment, so we know what the RSAs say that that encompasses. If they have a definition for it, but
I would also say cultural. To omit that word.
to omit cultural? What falls under cultural?
Oh,
I
God.
don't know, but I can envision a lot of things that would be.
Are those houses of worship, or is that institutional? What do houses of worship fall under? Do you know?
Well, it's already allowed.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's an explicit allowed use.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right.
That's weird.
Alright, so what if we change mixed-use type development that combines residential and allowed uses in that district? And here's our list, it's already done. And it does not have cultural and it does not have entertainment.
Could you repeat that suggestion? Sorry, I don't think I quite follow.
Alright, mixed use means a type of development that combines residential and then omit the rest of the definition and allowed uses that are as listed in the zoning ordinance.
Well, we
Or
wouldn't
can we-
strike commercial, right? Because mixed use is,
Well,
Isn't
so
it-
what we would say is that, that makes that difficult because then like, you know, mortuaries and manufacturing and warehousing in the, you know, permitted uses of the commercial zone. You know, do we really want residential above that?
Above a mortuary?
I mean,
Sure, why not? A lot of people.
I mean, a lot of people do
That's
that.
really normal.
I mean, I was just thinking like, you know, okay, crematorium. How about that?
Well, you could have your crematorium located with your,
Yeah.
those people live there a lot, lots of times. It's part of, it's a family business.
Yeah.
Not that this is true for manufacturing, but in Steamboat Springs, every building there pretty much has some sort of thing that exists underneath it. And where we were living happened to be a bakery. We didn't need heat,
nice.
but at 2 in the morning, the activity really started to heat up and crank up and everything else down below. But it was fine, it was, I don't know if that's manufacturing, but, it could be that kind of a thing.
So,
What are we worried about?
I don't know.
Well, the other listings. Chris's example would, make the other uses the other permitted uses that are on the list
Yeah,
would be in addition to the residential part.
can
yeah,
we,
that's fine. I mean,
and
it's up to the person whether they wanna move over a bakery or not.
Sure.
Right, but, I
I'm
don't
just
think
worried
the
about the things that may
manufacturer,
affect the look of our town.
I don't think Nottingham Park would put housing on top of whatever they're doing in that building. But they could,
They could if they wanted to.
yeah.
what if we just, under permitted uses, say mixed use, meaning the type of, mixed use, and then define it right there.
And just copy, paste, and delete entertainment.
Right.
Okay, so mixed use,
Copy New
a
Hampshire's-
type of development that combines residential and any other permitted uses within this
Residential,
section?
commercial,
Um,
right,
Back to 630,
or even if we
Line.
just say that.
which is the new one that's been going into effect next year. Mixed use means a development consisting of residential and non-residential uses, in which non-residential uses are less than 50% of the total square footage of the development and are limited to the first floor of the buildings that are 2 or more stories. So it doesn't say anything about, it doesn't,
But that,
commercial,
that would
I
manufacturing.
like this, so it
It
have
would
to-
limit it to
Yes.
those permitted
Really
uses.
tiny adult club then. It has to be less than 50% of the living space upstairs, so, yeah, let's just do that then.
Where did that definition come from?
It's the old one.
That's from the
House
design,
Bill 631.
design characteristics of mixed use, I
Okay.
believe.
So that's not a
This
current
is
RSA,
definition.
that was from a bill.
That was signed.
If it's signed, it's
It-
gotta be part of an RSA.
Yeah, it just hasn't gone into effect yet.
Okay,
Okay, so you're right, it is, amend RSA 674 by inserting after section 59 the following new section. And it goes on, 674-59A, multifamily and mixed-use developments permitted. And then this is,
59A, right? So
I
it's not-
believe, where the state says you have to allow multifamily in a, commercial district.
Yeah.
It's very long, I'm trying to read through there really quickly, but.
So what do we
So
say,
they-
as defined in 674-79, but clarify,
It's 674-59.
but that's not where the actual definition is.
It's 674
it seems like it might
59.
be split between the two, potentially, right? Because what he's saying, I still haven't found it, but it's the thing describing 50%.
Right, right. but
And
that's-
first floor for the commercial,
yeah.
this, the 674-79, mixed use doesn't say anything about requiring the first floor to be commercial. The 50% needs to be resident, all that stuff. So I don't know if we want to amalgamate the two.
Right,
to
do we
somehow
say,
that.
right, because it's defined, the mixed use definition is in 674-59, but further.
But
I
those
don't
are
wanna
the
say further
design
defined.
characteristics.
Right,
Those are design characteristics, so
Yeah.
You can't put
We-
those in there?
So this,
not in
Yeah.
this portion. We'd have to have another paragraph down below that would cover those areas.
this is the bill that says, "An act permitting residential building in commercial zoning by right." This is the bill that triggered this, we have to put multifamily in that commercial district. This one here. So this has the
But we're not talking
definition.
about multifamily, we're talking about mixed use. Mixed
It
use.
has multifamily or mixed-use developments.
Well, I know, we are required by the bill that was passed to put multifamily into the commercial district.
right.
But what we're discussing right now is whether or not we want to, how we're going to put mixed use into, so Mr. Griswold has made a motion to integrate mixed use into the town center and the commercial industrial zone.
It could be a single family and a small store, that's where, like, not multifamily, it's just,
Yeah.
like, split that, like Liars and Demons, for example. We're trying to encourage those.
And so what we're trying to do right now is to figure out if we put mixed use into these, how do we properly define mixed use so that it captures what we want mixed use to capture, right? And so that's why the RSA that we found, the 674 or whatever, 79, it has that entertainment part in it that we might not necessarily want.
And this new bill pertaining exactly to this
Yeah.
multifamily or mixed-use developments permitted by use, it says this. Mixed-use development means a development consisting of residential and non-residential uses in which non-residential uses are less than 50% of the total square footage of development.
And does that have an RSA associated with it that it's going to, I know it's just signed, but
674-59A.
and that's
That's
the
not a-
mixed use design standards? Is that what you're saying? Okay. What if we make our own definition of mixed use like we were talking about and then reference the design standards for mixed use, because that's what talks about the first floor being commercial,
There we go.
the 50%. What would, I'm just throwing that out there as a, potential so we don't have to like load up.
And that's what happens in the zoning ordinance somehow or another.
So what if we had non-residential uses as currently permitted in that district?
Yeah, I think that's what one
think
of
that's a
the
good way of doing it.
suggested things was saying mixed use. means a type of development that combines residential and any other permitted uses in this section.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
I like it.
And then for, the design standards, we just reference the RSA because that's what captures that, first floor commercial, 50% residential or more, so that we don't have to plop all of that in.
Yep,
How much percent
So-
commercial?
50.
Alright, so somebody wanna jot that down, or what do we wanna do with this? Mixed-use development
it's-
means a development consisting of residential and non-residential uses, period, as currently allowed in that respective district.
How about slightly rewording that to mixed use, means a type of development that combines residential and any other permitted, use defined in this section?
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah, I like that.
Just a
Yeah,
little
just
clearer in
keep
my
it simple.
opinion.
Yeah.
Let me just write that down before I forget it.
Well done. What's our setbacks for the town? No, I'm jumping past it. What's our setbacks for the town? It says commercial has a setback.
Um,
Oh,
the-
500.
It's
sorry.
500 feet.
Okay, so just to make sure we've got consent, board consent that we're putting this on here, I'm not gonna put it to a full motion, but are there any objections to, Mr. Griswold's has made the motion to add mixed use to the, town center and the commercial industrial zone? Are there any objections to having that, say, mixed use, meaning a type of development that combines residential and any other permitted use as defined in this section?
That sounds perfect.
yes.
Okay, I'm hearing no objections, so
Aye.
we will. So that will be added to this motion that we're currently entertaining.
And would the point of that is to, say, mixed use dash that? Or would we put that mixed use into the new words there, into the definitions?
Well, I guess we have the option of doing either, right?
I
would
think
just-
that we ought to put it in the definitions.
Yes,
Just to make it explicitly
Well,
clear.
then, but by putting it in the definitions, then we're not including this section. Then it gets kind of fuzzy. If we keep it,
Oh, I see, okay.
if we
Oh,
keep
yeah.
it in this section, then it references the
That section
uses
only.
in this section.
Yep. Good.
So we could change the wording slightly to, uses permitting in the underlying zone.
Well, it says as defined in this section, so if it's mixed uses in the commercial industrial zone section, then it would apply to those ones,
Mhm.
right? That's what you mean, right?
Right, well,
But if you
that's what
move
I
it to
meant.
definitions.
Oh, I see.
And then it's no
Okay,
longer in
I
a
see what you
section.
mean. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's a generic
It's not in a
definition.
I get
section.
you.
And then we have to define each one of those and say, oh, now we got, it may be a little different in a town center district than it is in commercial.
And we might actually want that at some point, right? We might want slightly separate mixed uses in
Right.
the town center versus the commercial industrial
Right.
zone.
That's
So
fair.
maybe it makes sense to keep each one having its own mixed use and the definition, a
Whether it
dash,
applies to its
so that
section.
we can modify that
yep,
in
Yeah,
the
I'm fine
future
with that.
more easily than trying to deal with a redefinition.
Right, and well, that way, if we add a new permitted use,
Right.
the mixed use kind of automatically updates itself.
Right, yep. I like it.
I like that idea too.
Okay, so we added that to both commercial and town center.
Yeah, so we're adding that as item K to the commercial industrial zone and moving the current I, the special exception, down to L. And then in the town center, we are adding item,
Should we use the numbers the letters that Nick had in that other document and not worry about because he had them in a different order.
well, but he also didn't have the special exception part at all in there,
No.
right?
Right.
So I don't think so.
It probably doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah,
So just that I'm clear, we're adding manufacturing, warehousing, multifamily, and mixed use to the commercial industrial zone.
Yep,
And we're adding home occupation and mixed use to the town center district.
yep,
The home occupation one is required by law, so
right, because it was
kind of a move.
sort of excluded, it was probably unintentionally excluded in the town center district because it's in residential.
Okay, so in the town center district then, item J will be home occupation. Item K will be
Mixed
mixed
use.
use.
Yeah, just insert.
Why don't we just
And
add
then
K?
item L would be the other uses by special exception. That's for the town center district.
Mhm.
Okay. Mr. Evans?
I'm just wondering whether like on those two sections, I and J with, by special exception, blah, blah, blah. Why do we keep kicking those down the end of the line and just, why don't we leave them where they are and just add the new items after? What's the difference? Why does it have to be at the end?
Well, the end is kind of, if none of your uses fall under these, then here's the catch-all. It's just a flow type of thing. It's really, it doesn't make a difference. It's just a formatting type thing.
Okay.
So I prefer to keep it at the end, but if everybody else on the board thinks that
It makes sense to leave.
it should be last.
Last,
It's the other.
Okay.
this, right, it's the other.
Okay, and so
It should
then,
always be last.
so then in the commercial industrial zone, we have item I will be manufacturing, item J will be warehousing, item K will be multifamily,
K is multifamily.
K is multifamily.
L
L is
Mixed
use.
mixed use,
with
With
the
the
caveat.
definition.
use, yeah, dash. And then item M will be the special exceptions that have been moved down.
And I'm sorry, on the town center one, we added mixed use and home occupation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I need to ask this question, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask it at this point in time, because we're adding it in. Does the state requirements to add home occupation, is that just to add the words, or is there a whole thing that goes with that? I'm thinking we have
In
something here,
Blair's
don't we?
thing in here, yeah. Hang on, let me just find it.
Because that opens a very large can of worms in our, which might be easy, because we could strike everything we presently have and put that in.
So home occupation is under our, general provisions as permitted uses. And services including beautician, barber, tailor, seamstress, pet groomer, woodworker, upholsterer, small engine repair, home daycare facilities, professional offices, manufacture and or sale of products as a retail operation such as arts and crafts, jewelry, pottery, etc.
You're reading ours, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm wondering if the state provided a whole lot of documentation to go along with home occupation.
that's
See it
the,
here.
Glenn, was the gist of that Blair noted that this was not in the town center district and that we should simply add this?
yes.
That,
Okay.
It's HB
not by the state, but by
1567.
Blair.
It's the home-based childcare facilities.
Yeah.
So they amended the definition of home occupations to include home daycare. And as part of that, Blair noted that home occupation was not listed in our town center district.
That's right.
Okay, so the reason I asked is I went looking on the state website for home occupation. I can't find it. And
And it wasn't there because this is something that's in our zoning ordinance that Blair said it's not in the downtown district.
yeah, and I understand that. And as long as it wasn't a state requirement that it be there, then I'm quote-unquote happy with what we're doing. But the question I asked was, is there something related to home occupation that we're not capturing here? State requirements of what home occupation is. I couldn't find it, that's why I'm
I think the
asking.
daycare one was the thing. That they want more childcare in the state, to help young families start out, so they
Yeah, but-
promoted that you can't restrict these. Or
That's weird.
limit these or something, the state did that.
Yeah, for home
I
childcare, home-based childcare.
And what
don't
it,
see home occupation
right,
defined.
what the childcare bill provided was by right, you could run a childcare out of your home up to a certain size and not have to go through
Site plan.
site plan review and some other stuff, right?
Yes.
So it didn't really deal with, I mean, for us, it's under home occupancy just because
Right.
that's how our ordinances deal with it. But yeah, I don't think there's any state level thing. It wasn't like they had a list of home occupancy that they now put that in. They were just
Yeah.
saying, hey, you have to allow in a residential area,
Right.
you know, these operations for people to do out of their home.
The only thing I could find referencing home occupation in the RSA's
Was
is,
fishing, yeah.
is under fishing,
Right.
right.
That's the only thing I found.
Right.
And it was like, wow. So the town of Nottingham
Including any
created-
fishing operations conducted as home occupation.
So it doesn't even define what home occupation, just that.
Yeah, there it is. And so it was like, so the town of Nottingham somehow or another came up with all of its own little things for home occupations. And I happen to think that they don't work very well at the moment.
I would agree with you.
So,
I mean, we could,
Strike it all.
we could, but, I mean,
you know how many properties, if we got rid of this, you know how many properties in town would no longer be?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would not be in favor of striking home occupation from the.
Deerfield has the whole town is home occupation.
Yeah.
The whole entire zoning, they have one zone. Residential and whatever you wanna do in your house, basically.
I run a home occupation, so I know well how poorly written the
Yeah.
Okay,
zoning is.
all right. So, anyway. Let's move along
Yes.
with that particular thing.
Agreed.
All right.
So home occupation going into town center district is
Yep.
item J.
Okay.
Do we want to make mention of this childcare legislation that was passed or not at this time?
No, the home occupation part makes that, I mean, we literally don't have to put it in at all because it's an accepted use in residentially zoned areas. So by us putting it in putting in home occupation, it just makes it a little clearer, but I don't think we need to put in childcare unless we're doing something different that would make it even more permissible in some way, you know what I mean? That is my view on it. So we talked about the design standards for mixed use, and I don't think we've integrated those in some way yet. How should we figure out how to do that?
I have a comment on the allowed uses in the zones. Our multifamily definitions for this are exceedingly strict. Town center, multifamily not to exceed 4 units. That's 2 duplexes. Like, that's a little ridiculous. It means that you literally cannot put in townhouses or something like that. Like, I know that this is not really the area for it, but I think that removing or increasing those numbers would be a good idea. So like town center, it says may not exceed 4 units. 8, 10, I don't think
Big
is.
building. That's a big building.
A 10-unit apartment, yeah, you're talking about, what?
4 families are large.
I mean, it depends on how big they are. I mean, we're doing a project right now in Rochester where each of the units is 20 feet wide, 50 feet deep, and
What's that?
That's the UTV.
Oh, I was like, what in the
Yeah.
world?
That's gotta be the UTV, yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's a
But
police
there are,
department's
but there are
helicopter.
8 units per building. So, it's 40 feet by 200.
So that's a, point well taken. That is a good point. That's not something that we, would tackle with this current motion that we're on.
Okay.
We could, after we move on from this,
Sure.
if the board wants to take that part up, we can. But we're not gonna move to a different motion and discuss that, but we could discuss it in tandem afterwards.
Sure.
If the board likes. So for this current one, does the board want to add any more to it? Design standards, anything like that?
I just want to shortly comment that this House bill removes, this childcare. This bill removes local site plan review as a regulatory, barrier to encourage more home-based providers. Do we want to put a note in there about childcare being pursuant to, state laws or not, required to, or do we want to ignore that and just see what comes in and then know at that time that there's a law out there that we have to deal with on a case-by-case basis?
Yeah, I think anybody who's looking to do childcare, like the state law allows, will know that they can do it anyway, and they don't, I wouldn't think that they would need it spelled out in our ordinances, because they would know that the state allows them, like, there's not really any reason for them to look at our ordinances, because it would be allowed either way. So it seems to me like it might be a little unnecessary. So at this point, we can continue if there are more discussion that the board members would like to have on the motion that's on the floor to add everything in as we've worked it up. The floor is open for a member to make a motion that we move this, as we've written it, to the public hearing on the 10th. I think that's the proper procedure that we would do.
Yep.
Skip.
Fine. Family daycare.
And, we could continue to discuss it and add more in, but now is the time.
Well, Glenn's point would be, I think,
Appropriate to actually look at this point, since we're talking about permitted uses, and that is one of those permitted uses. So if we do want to consider increasing the units, it would be appropriate.
There is a multifamily section, and there's also setbacks that we might want to talk about. So I think what Drew is trying to get through is the list of things initially, and then we should jump to those other items. The setbacks in commercial, I think, are important.
Yeah,
Number of
they can be
multifamilies in
after
the
this, it
downtown,
depends,
yes.
right? So after this, when the floor is open again, a member can make a motion to bring another ordinance topic to the floor to be discussed. What that is up to the member who makes the motion, and then the board will decide whether or not we all want to discuss that, right? And then if we do decide we want to, then that's the next motion that we would take up to discuss. Mr. Griswold, I am sorry, I did not notice the part of the residential that was talking about the number of units. I thought that was somewhere else, so I was mistaken in saying that we couldn't change something about that right now.
Yep.
So please, if you would like to make a suggestion to change that to something else, you are free
Yeah.
to do so. I
So
apologize.
there's a couple of things with it that I've noticed in our zoning, that the multifamily requirements are contradictory in different portions of the zoning. And I'd like to discuss that. It's not necessarily as part of this, but the residential agricultural district says not to exceed 6 units per building. Doesn't say how many buildings. And also the town center district says not to exceed 4 units. Just units, not buildings, not units per building, anything like that. Or units per lot, yeah. So as part of that, I think that we should make it so that those are consistent and that we can, you know, put some sort, I'm perfectly okay with putting some sort of limitations on them, you know, so that we don't have, 500 room hotel or whatever. But at the same time, I think that what we have right now is too restrictive.
I would be in favor of making it match the same one as in residential agricultural. You know, so,
Not to exceed 6 units per building.
yeah, I mean,
I
that.
think that's fine.
I'm trying to think of what the difference here might be, and if there was any reason it would have purposefully been worded differently between the two. And what I'm thinking is that for residential agricultural multifamily, where it says not to exceed 6 units per building, you could have a subdivision where you have multiple buildings, each with 6 units, right? And so then the town center district, how would that, so just not to exceed 4 units?
So,
Could that be 4 separate buildings that are counted as units? You know, like the lack of building there, does that mean that those 4 units can now be 4 separate buildings?
Probably.
As long as they meet every other requirement.
well,
Whereas,
the other requirements, I think, are the important task here,
sure,
because the downtown area is not very many acres.
Mhm.
And so in multifamily,
Yeah.
if we keep the general thing going, 2 acres per unit,
that's not gonna happen.
So,
I mean,
On top of
I'm just.
no.
I know.
On top of that,
Right.
which I believe is relevant, for multifamily dwellings, we require 30,000 square feet of upland land, not including steep slopes, not including buffers, not including setbacks, not including wetlands, and it has to be at least 50 feet wide at all points. So I brought sketches, because this is something that I really am kind of passionate about, and I'm sorry, but the way, I'm gonna get off on a tangent, I'm sorry, I'll
Let's not
stop.
get too far away.
Yep, no,
Right?
I'm
Because we
done.
can't change
I'll-
any
I'll
building
stop.
envelope
Yep.
sizes, anything like
Yep,
that.
I know.
while we're doing here, so.
I'm, but just stating that we require 30,000 square feet of contiguous uplands, not including setbacks, buffers, wetlands, steep slopes, and that those requirements make it so that a multifamily dwelling, 2 or more units, 2 units, right, on a single parcel would require almost 6 acres.
Right.
That's nuts, because it completely obviates the point of having multifamily.
You guys have made the point a couple of times that other towns were way more strict, but just want to remind you that it's okay to be unique. And I think the reason our property values are going through the roof is because we are unique. I think people want to move here because we're unique. So if you make us more like everyone around us, I mean, where are you going to move then to find what we have? What we have, why would we want, I mean, that's what makes us unique. It's our farms, it's our giant land, it's all of our trees, our animals. Our deer actually have a place to live, our turkeys have a place to live. So once you go that direction, there's no going back.
I understand. I just think that what we have right now is too restrictive. So, for example, if I can,
It depends. Is it related to this discussion of mixed uses here?
Not at the
Directly
moment.
related to a
not,
change?
not at the moment.
I know
I
we're
will hold
champing at the
off.
bit here to.
No, it's
I know,
fine. It's fine.
I understand, but let's.
I'm
if
trying
we-
to
If we verge
pull
off,
back.
we're
Yep.
never gonna get this done,
Yep.
and we're already an hour and 45.
Mhm.
You know, and we've got not even one of these amendments.
Yep.
Done, so let's
No, we're only
focus here.
Hour and 15.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Glenn, I'm
Seems
with
like
you
we're-
100% on lot envelope and some setback changes that we need to make here in this town that are
Well, sure, but that's not
But
the
that's not
current
what we're
motion.
talking about right at the
Yeah.
moment.
We can
So,
decide to take that up.
What I
later.
would like to make a motion on is that we change the number of multifamily units allowed in each of the districts to be consistent.
Okay. Second,
And, well, okay, there's a motion and a second that the multifamily, number of units is consistent between each section. I will open up the floor for discussion on this motion. How would you want to make that consistent? What is your suggestion for consistency?
I mean, if we wanna go that route, sure. I think that it needs to be consistent across the zones.
And it is not today.
Right,
One is not units, one is not building, and one is not a consistent number of what it could be.
right.
So what would your consistent statement say? Cause I'm in favor, but I'm not coming up with a good answer.
So what I would suggest is that we say not to exceed 4 units per building and not to exceed X buildings per lot.
Okay.
Sounded better.
So if we made it so that it was 4 units per building, and then say a maximum of, I don't know, 2 buildings per lot, would that sound okay, Adam?
That would be
Yeah.
a total of 8.
Yep.
I'm all for increasing, bringing people in and stuff and keeping prices fair.
Mhm.
But,
Well, so my reasoning behind this is that I agree with you. Like, I love this town, I grew up here, but if I was trying to move here right now, wouldn't be possible.
So what does that mean for, like, a small condo, townhouse development? They would have to have no more than 8 units
Per lot.
per lot.
And I have suggestions on lot sizes and setbacks and things like that for multifamily, but we're not getting into that right now.
Right, but
Why did the town center district and the residential district have to be the same in this regard?
well, the residential district should probably be a higher density, if anything, in the theoretical, like if you're go any downtown area where there's mixed use, there's gonna be more housing and more density in a theoretical world. That's, we're trying to have
the
this
town center district should be higher density, right?
walkable downtown center thing, which is gonna be hard to achieve here. Glenn, the problem with putting the limit on the number of buildings and such per use per lot is, what if you have this 100-acre lot or something?
Then you have to,
Then you'd have to go through
Parse it out.
subdivision.
Okay, check. So in the multifamily dwelling conversions, section, there is, 8 units, maximum. So there's other number that's not consistent.
Right, that needs to be crossed out, as best as I can tell, because that's not applicable to all of the districts anyway, unless we change it to make it that. Right?
Right.
So I think what we really need to do is revamp our multifamily conversion section and multifamily development section. And what Glenn is referring to is simply having a consistency in between the downtown district at 4 units, wherever the hell it was, sorry.
Well, it's more a
And
matter of.
And the other residential, which has 6 units.
So,
What my thought was, is the town center district just says not to exceed 4 units. period. And then the residential agricultural says not to exceed 6 units per building.
But doesn't the amount of buildings, isn't that restricted by the lot size anyways, so it doesn't really matter?
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah.
But,
If the builder's got enough money, he's gonna build whatever he wants anyway, so
So,
let's try to slow him
So-
down a little bit.
So in the town center district, all right, I'm not sure why this is worded the way it is, but under permitted uses, we have residential, and then it says single family and multifamily not to exceed 4 units, okay? Now, to me, those are two different thoughts. And I believe we just added in multifamily to the list. I didn't put them in the,
In the town center district?
yeah.
No, we add.
multifamily has already been in there.
Nick, we added multifamily to commercial.
Commercial, okay.
Multifamily's already in the town center under Part A. Residential, single family, multifamily.
Okay, so that needs to be separated out as a minimum,
yes,
or A and B,
sure.
Oh, you mean
yes,
single family
yes,
residential and multifamily residential?
yes,
Okay.
all right?
perfect. And let's add the wording,
Let's do A and B.
not to
Okay.
exceed 6 units per building for B, the multifamily.
Sorry, let's slow down.
Yeah.
Mr. Severns had a
I'm
first
just
suggestion.
suggesting A and B under residential. A is single family and B is multifamily. And then the multifamily words that we put over here in residential, not to exceed 4 units per building, 2 buildings per lot, be added for multifamily under that.
Under the residential?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah.
Okay?
You said add an A and B.
Yeah,
For-
A for single,
Sorry, under the residential as,
Residential, yep.
okay.
Yep.
But isn't part C already multifamily?
See,
We're in town center
We're in town
district.
center district.
Okay.
right,
I'm even more confused now.
D1A,
yeah, town center district, sorry.
D1A.
do we need a duplex or two-family residence under town center district?
I mean, we don't have it in our definitions.
So you're saying add an A and B into the town center district?
Correct,
That
sorry.
mimics the multifamily, where part B is a multifamily defined similarly to how it is in the residential.
Correct.
Okay. I think I'm with you now.
That's 3 sections.
Yeah, and I mean, if people want to keep it at the not to exceed 4 units per building, fine.
Town center.
Right.
I think that having those different
About,
wordings
well, we're not there yet.
is confusing.
Not there
Let's
yet.
limit crosstalk just to,
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right.
No, you had the floor, it's okay.
All I was trying to do there is to make the multifamily consistent
Yeah,
across
and
those 2 districts,
Right.
all right?
sure.
And then we're adding it into commercial industrial,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Well-
And honestly, I don't see a need necessarily for the same sort of restrictions in the commercial district.
Concur.
You know, could we add it? Sure. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't think that it's necessary.
so by not adding it,
You can have more buildings
More-
or more units.
yeah. Okay. All right, I'm good with that.
Okay, so,
We're not altering the multifamily at all.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
commercial industrial.
Right, it would be
So,
limited to
so it,
space or whatever.
I,
so in the commercial.
You getting that, Danny? Okay.
So the residential and town center district will have multifamily definitions that match, and the commercial district will just have multifamily without any added restrictions, is that right? And now the part is just determining what those extra restrictions on the residential and town center multifamily would be? Am I clear?
may I suggest that on A, that we add subletters 1, 2, and 3, 1 being single family, 2 being duplex and 2-family residences, and 3 being multifamily not to exceed 6 units per building.
Okay, so,
Do we
Oh,
need
so
to-
basically copying kind of like what we have on the residential agricultural?
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yes.
But do we even
Jump
need
to-
But do that all under the A residential unless you wanna kick everything in that
Well-
whole line down the line.
alright, so the deal, are we ready to go to that? Is the deal with duplex the fact that that can be considered a single-family home
No matter what, because of the,
because of the common wall,
What?
or?
right, but what if, so it could be considered a single-family home with the,
With an
auxiliary unit.
ADU,
Right, but the ADU by definition is restricted to 900 feet. So the duplex could have two,
900 footers.
or you could have two 1,200 footers, you know? So I think that's the difference between a duplex versus a single family with an ADU.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge.
But is a duplex a subset of multifamily?
Not according to our definitions.
So then I agree that we should probably define A, B, and C.
Or 1, 2, and 3 under section A, because it's already lettered there, so let's number that.
Yeah, do it like it is in the agricultural district. Residential agricultural. A, well,
Yes.
in this case, it would be 1 single-family residence and associated accessory dwelling units. I think that's good.
Sorry, where are you referencing the,
Permitted uses
but you're talking about the, sub.
under
Residential.
section C, residential.
And then permitted uses, single-family residences and associated
Spell it out.
ADU. Duplex or 2-family residence. And multifamily not to exceed whatever we come up with.
And just have those match in both
Match in town
districts.
center.
Okay, gotcha.
This is tough.
I think we have a motion and a correction or amendment to that motion. Is that what we'd say here?
So, okay, so the suggestion is that we add, or that we take the definitions A, B, and C from Part C residential agricultural district and apply those same A, B, and C definitions to the town center district. And then we still need to, well, we can add it as is, keeping it not to exceed 6 units per building, or we can modify that after this. So are there any objections to adding those 3 items into the town center district so that they match the residential agricultural district?
They wouldn't match totally, word-wise, yes, or meaning-wise,
Yeah.
but it would be
But we'd have different units.
1, 2, and 3 underneath residential. In the
So
town
just-
center district, because of the
Yeah.
way that they're
Because the way they're
situated.
already pre-labeled.
Yeah,
And to make it
This is the part
easier
that
to
I'm getting
change the
lost at.
definition.
yeah.
So what they're talking about, Drew, is, so it
We need a
says
whiteboard in this room.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's just one
Yeah,
small
might
part
be a
that's
little
not
bit
clicking
right
for me
now.
right now.
residential and then 1 single, 2 duplex,
Yeah.
3 multi,
Except maybe not. Some people-
like that,
In the town center district.
in the town center district.
Okay.
Yes. Just as a formatting.
Have, okay,
Right.
So that,
residential.
so it's
okay,
not a
yep, I
big
got you.
giant.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had changed every number on every single other
Right.
item below that, B, C, D, E, F, G, yeah.
Should get a big white rolling one that the schools used to have when I was a kid. Put it in that corner.
Sorry, just let me make sure I'm capturing this. C dot. C. D dot. A.
for the permitted use
Okay.
of residential with sub-bullets 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, so I didn't hear any objections to adding those in as described. So that is the, current motion on the floor, that we've modified that aspect of this as well. Do we want to change the number of units per building for multifamily? Leave it as 6?
We were talking about 4 units per building, 2 buildings per lot. I don't know if that's still,
I just tossed that out there as a number,
I like it.
I'm okay with, what the numbers are, I just wanna make sure that the language between them is the same, so like
Yeah.
6 units per building, 4 units per building. Just wanna make sure that that's clear.
right.
Oh, so just
So right now-
add per building,
Yeah,
that's it, okay.
As we've modified it, it will say multifamily not to exceed 6 units per building in both the residential agricultural district and the town center district.
Beautiful.
It'll say
That's
that
fine.
right now. Okay.
I like
But,
Yeah.
but
I like
don't we want to put in how many buildings we're allowing?
The 2
but
buildings.
that's gonna be
per lot.
limited by
Space
the
that they
lot
have.
size and
Okay.
space requirements.
Others.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay, so we don't have to worry about that part.
So,
and we're not allowed to talk about that yet.
Okay,
So,
that's fine.
so I wrote this down, amend section D1A residential to A residential uses, subsection 1 single-family residence, 2 duplex or 2-family residences, 3 multifamily not to exceed 6 units per building.
That's correct.
And I jotted it down if you didn't catch it.
Yep, I've got it too. And
Okay.
hopefully our
did you
recorder
say
is,
D or E?
Delta.
he said D.
Delta,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, town center section.
Okay.
Right, do we
Okay.
wanna vote to say that's done?
Yes.
A member can make the, to move to.
We're just doing it
so-
by
Yeah, I was gonna say, we
acceptance.
already did the
I
motion.
thought we were
think I
doing
just
it by
did that.
acceptance.
I make a motion to amend section D, town center district, 1, permitted uses, section A residential, to read A residential uses.
Mr. Evans, I just want to
Oh,
pause real
sorry.
quick. So we have, by consensus, we did add in those definitions to the town center district. And so what we've been doing, the motion is on the floor to make all these changes that we've discussed. So in order to get the motion to send it to the public meeting, all you need to do is just move that we send this. You don't have to read the whole thing because we've already made up all of the different things
Okay,
here during this motion that is, so now you're,
so we're still on the original one.
well, this all has been one
It's
motion
all,
dealing
yeah.
with this one ordinance, right? And so now is the time where I think you're trying to move
Okay.
it to the public,
Check.
is that,
Is that the
We
motion?
need you to,
we need you actually to
So moved.
make a motion? Okay, so
Add,
So
adding
moved.
this,
Mr. Decker has made a motion to move the zoning ordinance amendment for the allowed uses in our residential agricultural district and town district and commercial industrial zone as modified
Yeah.
during the session to the public hearing on December 10th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Oh my God, Ryan, sorry.
Oh
boy, yeah, I apologize, yeah.
And it's like.
Mr. Ryan has seconded the
Right.
motion. Is there any further discussion about the motion to move it to the public hearing on the December 10th?
No.
Hearing no further discussion. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, that passes unanimously, and this will be moved on to the public hearing on December 10th at 6:30 PM.
Did it.
Okay, so
Good job, Joe.
we have now,
one
we
thing,
have tackled
Hour and a half.
one of our zoning amendments. So we also have additional amendments that we've been working on here. There are some that are still waiting for more info on, like the fire cistern. I have not heard anything back.
I did talk with Chief Curry, and he said he was fine with the concrete stuff.
So,
So what we can do if we want to, since the floor is open, any member can now move to bring up either one of the zoning amendments that we've been discussing, like the fire cistern. It could be another zoning amendment, anything like that, and then we will, vote on whether or not we would like to discuss that and bring that motion to the floor for further entertainment by the board.
so,
All right.
you going?
Oh,
Go.
no.
Recognize
no,
Mr.
no,
Severance.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, floor is back open.
I was gonna make a motion that we, address the, fire cistern specifications in Appendix 5. Adding number 7, which was,
So the motion should just be to open discussion on it.
That's fine.
And then we can talk about what we want to do to it.
All right.
So the motion's been made to discuss the zoning amendment regarding the fire cistern specification. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, there's, the second's been made. And this is just to bring this question to the floor to discuss the fire cistern specifications. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
What are we
Any
doing now?
opposed?
Carrying it forward?
No, the fire cistern specifications, we're taking that up as the next, the motion on the floor is to take
Okay.
that up as the next.
Let me just clarify. This is Article 5 in the subdivision regs, which we can do at any point in time. It is
I
not.
apologize, well,
Okay.
you are correct, the motion is still on the
Alright.
floor.
Alright,
So,
So we can
So
pick it up
let's-
if we'd like, but
let's-
I think
let-
we're trying to
we
do
can-
zoning.
Well,
so
opposed.
you can withdraw your motion if you'd
I
like.
withdraw my motion.
Okay, that motion has been withdrawn.
Thank you.
So we do have the option if it's,
Discuss that at any point. and do it
right, we can
ourselves.
kick this one down the road. If it's an easy, quick one, we could just get it done,
Why
but
don't we throw it in right now to just get it done while we're on it?
if you'd like
That's
to
kind of what I was
I'd
reintroduce.
rather spend the time on
actual zoning
Okay.
actual
amendments.
zoning stuff that
Right out the
we
gate, we
need a
can do it.
deadline.
Yeah,
Can't talk
I
about it
mean,
for now. If we're all in agreement the way it is, we'll
Yeah.
just take it in and just accept it real quick.
That was my hope, but
That was
We all do
but
way
the
it is.
board,
That's,
I-
I'm,
Skip.
would be fine.
Why did you do that?
Why did I do what? Because I
that
don't
monkey
want it to
wrench
go
into
before the
Mr.
public. This is subdivision regs,
Right, we're talking about subdivision regs, not.
and if you
Not
wanna,
zoning.
Sorry,
if you
we're
wanna
talking
go
about
forward with
zoning,
it,
not
I
subdivision.
know nothing about this, so I don't
Right.
truly care.
Yep,
Okay,
sorry, that's
so-
a subdivision reg. We're supposed to be talking about
Zoning.
zoning stuff.
Right.
That's our agenda, zoning. That is not an
So-
agenda.
Real sure why through.
Is that it?
I
And
I
we
don't
didn't
know
get
why
the
it's on the
information
page.
back either from, CMA or, something else.
no,
that he was
and
gonna get.
I'm actually unclear whether or not CMA was actually contacted. I think we were.
Blair was, I think was gonna do that.
Was that?
so-
Okay, I had a question in my mind whether or not we actually like pulled the trigger on having that go through. But either way, I have not heard anything on that. So is that, are those the only zoning amendments that we've been
Yeah,
dealing with so far?
Those changes that
Oh,
we
this has been
that I
a
don't
lot
have.
more, but
Yeah,
I
what are
don't know
the
what
other
this
ones?
was.
Yeah, but these seem
Alright,
to be the
so
only-
let's.
I think a lot of the stuff
These are the ones we should be
was
looking at, I believe.
the ones that Blair had mentioned from the
Yeah.
zoning bills.
This is the only other thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
what
bad.
I think he's
punch.
talking about.
Yeah.
You gotta punch
Alright,
it.
so I don't have this.
Yeah, that's what we just
Yeah,
did.
Data technology.
Commercial zone.
Hang on.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, I didn't see that, so I didn't know what else we had in that.
So,
Yeah,
Train conductor
So-
making these things up?
I think it's,
so we did, the land use clerk did email us the document yesterday that did have all of the actual zoning ordinance amendments that the town of Nottingham needs to update. So for example, the first one is, it's a ZBA appeals deadline. So it's literally just an RSA change that, it's in there in this document as it should be changed. So we could, we could take this up and quickly pass it ostensibly, and get that.
Yep.
Because that's a boilerplate, like, we don't have any real opinion, or we can't have any opinion on this because it is what it is.
Where,
It's prescribed.
where was
Yeah,
that?
exactly. This is in the email
email.
that,
Yeah, no, what
So
section of our ordinance?
It's HB 296, ZBA appeals deadline?
Article
Is it?
5. It says
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, here it
Article
is.
5,
Yep,
zoning
yep,
board
appeal,
of,
right? So
Yeah.
under C, we created a 4 with Blair's words. It was called appeals, and then we had Blair's words.
It's on the second page.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we pass that on to the public.
I'll second that.
All right, there's been a motion made and seconded to send the proposed amendment for Article 5 of our zoning ordinance to the public hearing on December 10th. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? All right, that motion carries.
We are flying.
Now we're working. So next one on this list, and again, I'm just going through this list.
Yeah.
You know, members can suggest in any other order or whatever they would like to move to bring to the floor. So I think we took care of the HB 31 section, right? The residential uses in commercial zones.
Yep.
That was done with the first thing that we did tonight. Home-based childcare facilities, don't have to do anything with that. Oh, actually, there is a suggestion that we add it to home occupation.
we gotta go back.
Jeez.
Well, to the different.
Well, no, this isn't this is in
Separate.
Article 4, general provisions, so this is not in the same section that we already just worked on. It is a different one. This is on page.
Oh, yeah, 27.
Yes.
28, section G, right?
Yeah, section G. So it proposes adding or modifying replacing section D that defines family daycare home for up to 6. That doesn't make any sense,
Preschool and
but-
up to 3.
But it essentially is just replacing it with a new definition of home-based daycare facilities,
Okay,
right? And that makes sense, to me anyway.
yeah.
So if a member would like to move that to the current discussion so that we can send it on to,
So moved.
Second.
all right, there's been a motion and a second
No problem.
to move
Not
the
voting tonight.
proposed amendment for Article 4, general provisions, home occupation, the definition of home-based daycare facilities, to move that to the public hearing on December 10th. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that motion carries.
So we're adding the wording just as it's written in here or
Yeah, the
suggested.
home-based daycare facilities, because I think that's how the
Per-
state, you know.
Perfect, perfect, okay. We don't have to rewrite anything. Thank you.
Exactly.
It's already there. All right, on-site parking requirements?
That is one of the things that shows up here. It says town does not require minimum parking, no changes required.
I
So this
mentioned,
is different than the conversion, right? This is a different thing than the conversion. You can bring that up as, you can make a motion to bring that forward as a discussion item if you would like. But I'm just clarifying that this minimum on-site parking requirements is different than our zoning's multifamily conversion. That's why it says town does not require minimum parking, no changes required. Because it's not a part of our zoning ordinances, it's a part of the multifamily conversions. I'm assuming this is what you're bringing up, right?
yes, so when I converted my building down here to 2 units,
Yep.
Dale, after like 6 meetings, said, you need to show parking requirements.
Is that
as
a zoning ordinance
determined-
requirement, do you know?
For the
I apologize
purpose
for
of
interrupting.
adequacy of off-street parking shall be determined by the planning board, and it shall provide for combined needs of all units within the buildings.
That's in the ordinances,
That's
not,
in the
not the site
ordinance.
plan? Oh, okay. Which section of the ordinance is
We
that?
are in section, page 9, if that's easier,
That'll work.
multifamily conversions.
Yeah, that's a good way to start page 9.
And members, you also do have your zoning ordinance regulation printout in the back of your binder too.
Yes,
And if you don't have a digital device.
I'm referencing both.
Okay, I see. So it's part F, section 4,
E,
section 4E.
4E.
The adequacy of off-street parking
Oh,
shall be
40.
determined by the planning board, and it shall provide for the combined needs of all the units within the building structure.
So, Mr. Evans, if this is, a topic that you would like to bring forward for discussion, then you should make a motion
Check.
to bring this to the floor for discussion, and then somebody will hopefully second it, and then we'll take a vote on whether or not the board wants to discuss that now.
So
You don't have a
moved.
block there anymore.
I got a copy skip on that
I can
one.
prop it, though.
Yes, let's,
So there's been a motion to bring zoning ordinance section, oh boy, where am I at? Article 2, section F,
If they choose.
part 4E. So multifamily dwelling conversions, parking requirements, essentially. So a motion has been made to bring that to the floor for discussion. Is there a second?
Sure.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion on bringing this to the floor? All right, all those in favor of bringing this to the floor for discussion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, Mr. Evans, you have the floor.
Section 4, multifamily dwelling conversions, my recommendation and suggestion based upon the state calling out parking requirements not being allowed on the House Bill blah, 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 284, is to strike item E right out of here. Just take out the parking requirements in there as seen by the planning board for conversions. Just remove that section E.
What determines that then? Is there something else that does that?
The state, Senate Bill 284, minimum on-site parking requirement says that, that, I believe it says something about the town can't require a certain number of parking spaces per unit.
Okay.
This section does require it. It actually, it's located, it's not in this section, it's in the subdivision regs as well, that there's 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit, and that's the only parking notes we have is right here in the whole entire zoning ordinance, and then the other requirements are in the parking requirements that are in the subdivision regs, so.
Correct, but this says adequacy of
Yeah.
off-street.
It doesn't
It doesn't-
require parking, it just says that the planning board needs to determine that it's adequate.
I don't know how we
Right.
do that, but.
So-
Right, and the law itself says that it has to be 1 per unit.
You would think it
Well,
least
that's what
that.
it says in
Yeah,
in
the
SB
minimum
284, the minimum is 1 per unit.
So when I went to Dale with mine, he said, well, I can't determine that adequacy. I said, here's my parking
But
on
he's
the
not the
site, and
planning.
he goes,
not
I
the-
can't,
well,
I
right.
can't determine that.
Right.
And that makes
'Cause-
sense because
Yeah.
it says in our ordinances that the planning board is the one who decides that adequacy. So he would be out of his
Jurisdiction.
authority to tell you it would be okay because as the ordinances are written, it needs to have planning board input.
And then there was no permitting process because it's exempt from site plan review.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to come to the planning board 3 times to
That
get
is a separate mess, right?
Yeah, that's a
it's
separate.
this matter right here.
Well, they're related, right? So one is the requirement that the planning board decide the adequacy of a multifamily conversion. And then the second part of that is that requirement doesn't really have a good process by which you know, somebody like you was able to do it, right? So those are two separate things here. And, you know, there is you don't necessarily want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because a process doesn't work well, doesn't mean you should throw out the entire ordinance. I'm not saying that I have a preference either way, I'm just saying, you know,
I'm
just because the
suggesting
process
that we
doesn't work.
remove the planning board from the number counting parking spaces and that the building inspector can make that determination.
So you can,
Like if
you can
somebody
make a
went to a
motion.
permit to put a single family, he could say, look, you need 2 parking spaces or 1, and here's the driveway and here's the parking, done.
Yeah.
Issue a permit. That should be the same process for a 2-family or conversion. He should be able to issue building permits and count the parking spaces on the ground and not have to send it to the planning board for 3 meetings to put a single
Sure. So the,
apartment in.
sorry, just yeah, understood. So what, you know, what the process you should follow is, would be to make a motion to make that change.
I did make a motion to strike item E off of this multifamily conversion section.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there a second for that motion?
I want a second, I just wanna make sure I know I'm hearing this correct.
So just to clarify, making a second for a motion, it doesn't necessarily mean you support it. It just means you would like to bring it forward for discussion, right? So I'm just bringing that out there. Did I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, we've got a second. All those in favor of, sorry. So there's been a motion and a second.
Discussion.
Is there further discussion on this motion to strike Part E from that section?
I don't think we want to strike Part E, because right now, we don't have a parking requirement on single-family stuff, but, you know, we do have a requirement here that there's adequate parking, although the adequacy is not really defined well. Maybe we need to change how it's worded, but I agree that the law here says it should be at least a minimum of 1 residential parking space per unit.
So if I can offer,
Sorry, let me just make sure. Mr. Decker, are you done with your point? Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, Mr.
sorry.
President. No, that's okay. I'm just trying to keep things orderly.
I would prefer to amend Part E to read the adequacy of off-street parking shall be determined by the code enforcement officer, and it shall provide at minimum 1 space per unit.
I'd be in favor of
I
something
like
like
that.
that.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, so there's been a suggestion that the motion be modified not to strike Part E, but to reword Part E so that the off-street parking is determined by the code enforcement officer and shall provide, I'm sorry,
At
what was the end
least
of that?
1
At
parking
least-
spot per dwelling unit.
At least 1 parking space per dwelling unit.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll do this one by, and it is getting late.
Consent?
Consensus. Is there any opposition to modifying the motion as stated? Hearing no opposition, so we will modify it as, yes, Mr.
We're
Seven.
gonna strike for purposes of this section, that is the stupidest set of words I've ever heard in my life.
Yes,
Yes. It's in this section.
yes.
Yeah. All right, so we will also have that.
Modify that motion.
So,
Right,
are-
so
so
just
shall
to
I,
make sure there are no objections to also striking for the purposes of this section in Part E as we
so
modify.
do I think I'd like to amend my motion that was out there way back when.
So
for-
if you're doing it to what we just did,
Yes,
so we just did it by consent, right? So your motion is still, I know things are a little bit different now, but I'm trying to stick to Robert's rules a little more
Sure.
closely so that we're, keeping things fair for everybody and moving things forward.
Okay.
So we have by consent made that modification to the motion that's on the floor, which is our discussion of this zoning change. So you don't need to remake a motion to do all of what we just did. It's now been modified. Should we, at some point move to put this forward to the public hearing.
Well, maybe we should move to put it towards the public with modifications, so I don't know if this is the right way to do this, but section 4, multifamily dwelling conversions, section E, remove for purposes of this section, and change that from to the adequacy of off-street parking, which shall be determined by the code enforcement officer at a minimum of 1 parking space per dwelling unit.
All right, thank you, Mr. Evans. And just before I ask for a second, you don't need to read the whole thing. You would just need to make a motion to move this current, the question that we are currently entertaining to the public hearing. So you did that just with more words. So is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sevens is seconded. Any further discussion on moving this zoning amendment to the public hearing on December 10th? Further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, that motion carries. Okay, the floor is back open. I will remind the board that we are at 8:26, so we've got about a half an hour left. So, we've got more amendments here, but the floor is open. If another member would like to bring a single amendment, right? So I want to say that when we do this, we don't want to bring a big omnibus amendment. What we don't want is a discussion about sweeping changes across multiple areas. It should be a discussion about one single change to the zoning, right? Because we would then discuss whether that single part goes on to a public hearing. So I just wanted to clarify that before anybody wants to bring a huge thing before. We're doing it, bit by bit. Each section needs to have its own discussion. And yes, it, might be a larger discussion, but the way we'd have to handle it is bit by bit.
So,
Mr. Griswold.
I would like to discuss the current, zoning requirements for housing with the 30,000 square feet minimum upland area exclusive of buffers and everything like that. And
Is there a particular part of the ordinance that we can look at? Because what
Yeah.
we're wanting to do here is to suggest changes to the ordinance, right? And so
yes,
each one will show up as its own warrant if it gets that far, right? And
Yes.
so we can't do one that's a huge thing that includes a bunch of different moving parts. It really needs to be one particular part of the zoning that's changing at a time,
How
So-
about residential C,
Mr.
section
Griswold still has
E?
the floor. Are you?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, it's Article 2, Section C2E,
What page?
4.
page 4, right up at the top.
So it's like right near the beginning, page 4.
Did you wanna make that a 200 by 200 foot square?
No.
Well, I mean, that's why it was there, cause you could do it, if you had enough
I
frontage
know.
and everything else.
Yep.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, is this open for discussion now?
So there's been a motion to discuss Article 2, Section C, Part E, dealing with lot envelopes. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any further well,
Yes.
yes. So I say yes. I'm sorry.
So,
It really is getting bad. All right, there's been a motion and a second. I will open up the floor to discussion on this item.
So I have a visual for everyone. So.
Here, if you just want to pass them down rather than
Okay, yep.
efficiency.
Pass that one to Chris. Actually, I think there we go.
Basketball court.
Okay,
What kind of
so.
paper is this?
Surveyor paper.
It is. Nice heavy duty stuff. So this drawing, this rectangle, is a 2-acre parcel. 87,120 square feet, okay? This also shows the current setbacks of 50 feet from every lot line, as well as the required 30,000 square foot area, which is in orange, okay? The thin black line that's underneath it is the setbacks. So there is just that little tiny square down at the bottom, which is about 2,500 square feet outside of that. And as you can see, down on the lower part of it, I've got that 2-foot diameter circle of wetlands. That's the size of a manhole. With the required buffers and setbacks, this 2-acre parcel with that one little manhole of water is not buildable in our current ordinances. The only place that would be buildable is if that little tiny circle of wetlands is in one of the rear corners. This also doesn't include any steep slopes, and this is only 100 feet wide now,
Right.
and it cannot get any closer than 50 feet wide in the way that our ordinances are written. It makes a majority, like, if you look at all of the lots across town, every single one of them, probably about 70% would not be buildable today. I think that that's unfair, in that someone could be looking at a lot, it looks like it's perfectly buildable, but then, you know, oops, we've got this little tiny frog spawn area that makes it so that now, nope, sorry, you just wasted $200,000 on a lot that you can't build on. Even if it's a lot of record, even if it's, you know, there are, you know, if it's a beautiful lot, but it happens to drop off in the back, same thing. You can't build on it. Even if there's plenty of adequate space up front, even if there is perfect soils, yeah, I mean, like, most of the lots in town are like this, you know? The average grade on my lot is 18%, and that's the average.
So are you suggesting that it be 100 by 200? I used my pen for buildable square. If you look at it from that standpoint, that would draw a line pretty much at the top of the 75-foot setback circle.
Mhm.
And it looks like everything's there. I don't like the well in the front yard, but I mean, it has nothing to do with that. It just, so to me, the 200 by 200 foot square was actually seemingly an appropriate type of viewpoint for a lot that looks like this, especially if you're trying to keep everything parallel.
But you can't.
Skip, if,
Can't
hang
do
on.
what?
Sorry?
You
Do what?
can't fit a 200 by 200
No,
square
no,
with our
and-
current.
Right, and that's why we
zoning.
went with the 30,000 square feet,
Mhm.
okay? Because the 200 by 200 didn't work. But
Uh-huh.
100 by 200, does that work?
No? Okay, yes, assuming that there is no wetlands, there's no steep slopes, and the lot is perfectly rectangular and doesn't have any weird jigs or jogs.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm just looking at it from
Mhm.
the sense of this drawing.
Sure.
So 100 by 200 is 2,000 square feet, right?
20,000.
20,000 square feet.
Mhm.
So is that what you're proposing? I mean,
Honestly, I'm looking for discussion on it because I think that it is a combination of the required building envelope and the setbacks the required setbacks, that make it so that there is a large amount of lots in town that could not be built upon.
So I put together recently, I went and looked at all the surrounding towns and what their lot sizes and frontages, setbacks and all that, with, you know, hoping that this might help to guide and inform our discussion as well. So this, you know, this captures pretty much all of our surrounding towns. This is for single-family residential, in particular. And so anywhere in there, in the regs where setbacks, you know, building lots, minimum lot sizes were more restrictive than Nottingham, I marked it, you know, I highlighted it with red. Anywhere where it was less restrictive than Nottingham, I highlighted it with that greenish color. Then over on the wetland setbacks, anything that is red there is less protective than Nottingham, and anything that's green is more protective than Nottingham's setback regulations. So to me, it seems like our, you know, our upland buildable area requirements are on the pretty low side, but it's the setbacks that are way higher than many other towns. All other towns.
All other towns.
Right? So to me, it seems like it's not the building area that, I'm sure that could be an issue, but it seems like the thing is more the setbacks. And to me, I wouldn't want to see any change in buildable area without having better wetland setback protections too, because that's kind of the whole point, is to protect, you know, sensitive resources. So if we allow a smaller building footprint, then that should be further away from sensitive habitats, steep slopes, all that stuff, in my opinion. But this is cold hard data for you all to consider, just to, you know, just to kind of give us some grounding to know what other surrounding towns are doing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Recognize Mr. Evans.
Thank you, sir. I do concur with Drew on the setbacks, that they should be changed. I did send an email out to everybody. Our front setback is 170% higher than the average town's, side 231% greater than other towns, and rear 212% greater than average other towns. So we should deal with that, but this, we're on the floor here with this lot envelope business, and this, in the 2 years I've been on this board, this lot envelope business has been an absolute dumpster fire, in my opinion. And even to look at this year, or go back just slightly, we had Hall Road, a 2-acre lot, and they could not fit this imaginary envelope onto it because of the way it was described. And the 200-foot square that used to be in there wouldn't fit onto a lot. It just didn't even fit into I drew the same picture last year, and that's why we took the 200-foot out, because it didn't fit. It didn't even make any sense. The lot envelope on Stevens Hill, they had a 25 acres up there. They cut a 2-acre and a 20-something acre lot next to his parents' house, so the young guy in our town could live next to his parents on his parents' land. They need to get a variance to build in this beautiful open field with stone walls. And then they needed to move the driveway on the back of that lot because the envelope didn't fit in the front. So they moved that driveway and built somewhere out in the back, 900 feet back or whatever it was, which adds impervious surface. It encroached upon wetlands, and which is contrary to what we're trying to do in saving the environment. Why would you stick a house back there when you could put it up in the front and keep all that land protected? It's kind of
Scenic road too, that was part of that reason.
So the lot envelope did not work there. I live on a lake. My house is less than 50 feet from the lake, and my house and 500 other houses on the lake wouldn't fit, but they're all there. There's proof in the pudding that houses can exist on less than 2 acres without a lot envelope on them. I live in one. I feel like a hypocrite every single time somebody comes up here and we have this, oh, you have to put this envelope on the lot. We already have setbacks, we already have wetland setbacks, we already have everything in place to put a house on a lot. Why do we need this extra layer that has to go over this? On the Hall Road one, we had a map that had 17 different colors on it, and we couldn't even figure out where anything was. It was ridiculous. So I think we should remove the lot envelope because we already have protections from setbacks from wetlands, we have setbacks from the sides, setbacks from the front, and it's totally redundant and unnecessary.
I will just point out that there are a couple of towns, if you look at the column contiguous upland, the ones that have asterisks at the end of them, those are towns that don't require a buildable area separate from their lot size, their minimum lot size. And what they do instead is they allow for a certain percentage of that lot size to be filled with wetlands and count towards, the buildable, meeting the size requirements essentially.
But one thing that I want to point out that looking at it just like this is slightly disingenuous. None of those other towns, when they're talking about their contiguous upland areas, take out setbacks.
I do believe quite a few of them do.
I can tell you for a fact that Barrington does not, Northwood does not, Stratford does not.
What do you mean by take out step
So,
setbacks?
so
So,
contiguous
so
upland
for,
is
so
not-
what I'm saying is, okay, our contiguous upland area has to be within the setbacks. Theirs is just looking at the entire lot, it's not taking those setback areas out.
The builder has to be within the setbacks is the issue they're having.
It's one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Which again goes to the issue of our setbacks are huge.
So if you took Glenn's picture and you said, this area, which might be perfectly buildable on the front, is 50 by 200 feet, there's 10,000 square feet out the window. And then this area, that's 435 feet by 50, if we took out the front and the back here, is gonna be 15,000 square feet out the window. Here's another 15,000 square feet out the window, and here's another 10,000 square feet out the window. That's a total of 50,000 square feet of a 2-acre lot that can't be counted as good, solid, buildable land under this envelope. It's dumb.
So.
Dumbest thing.
So what do you want it to
look at,
say?
if you look at the numbers on the side of my sheet there, so the lot size, 2 acres, the buildable area within the setbacks is only 0.77 acres because of how large our setbacks are. And that doesn't include that little 2-foot diameter circle of wetlands and the buffers and setbacks from that.
Right, yeah, you need 3/4 of an acre just for your
Yeah,
buildable space.
yeah.
So,
That's,
so, this statement used to have in it a building lot envelope,
Mhm.
which we got rid of, now says lot envelope.
Mhm.
Is there a need for a lot envelope?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think
so that's
that,
what you're suggesting, is to basically remove E,
yes,
okay?
just remove
E.
E.
because the
I got
the
you.
requirements of DES are such that you need to have a 3,000 square foot building envelope and a 4,000 square foot
Yep.
septic area.
Yep.
And
All the
between
rest of
that
the,
and setbacks,
You're in.
yeah,
but it used to say building lot envelope, and that's where some of this came from, because the setbacks exist. So my question is basically, do we need the existence of something called a lot envelope? And I think I'm saying no.
I agree with you. I think that whole part E should be struck.
Is that a motion?
I'll motion that, sure.
I'll second it.
All right, there's been a sorry, to strike that section?
Yep.
Yes.
So that is, so we're going back to the original one, right? So
No,
we started out with the motion to strike it, and then it went to modify it, right? And did we change it to be modified, or am I
I think we
thinking?
just
I
made
think
a
we were
motion
just
to open
discussing it.
discussion.
Okay, I'm getting mixed up.
We made a
All
motion
right.
to bring it
So
to the
there-
table to discuss.
There has been,
Discuss.
all right, there's been a motion to, a motion and a second to strike Part E from Article 2, Section C, Part 3. Nope, sorry, Part 2. Yeah, Part 2E.
E.
All right. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to make sure that the pre-existing part,
Gone.
also gone, doesn't have any relevance that we would
All
need to
those
keep.
lots are now good.
Yep, okay, so yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yep. Just double checking, because it was bigger than,
Yep.
Okay, so I guess for me, my opinion on this is that I'm uncomfortable relaxing anything without increasing wetland setbacks to better protect those areas. So, I mean, that's my piece on it. If we had better wetland protections, I'd be a little more for it. But as it is, I don't feel like our wetlands are adequately protected the way they should be. So that's where I stand
and
on it.
we're not increasing that,
No, I know.
because it still would be the same protection that exists currently.
For me personally, I haven't had enough time to research any side effects of striking that entirely. And so I'm also uncomfortable making such a big move to do that without, at least for myself, having enough time to really consider that. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have a comment on that. We have considerable issues with this over the last 2 years. It's been the main issue, and it's come up and raised its head, and we tried to address it last year. And we added some wording here, and it's just confusing, and it's not needed. And we have wetland protections, we have setbacks on the lots, we have houses in the town, like my lot is 15,000 square feet with a well and a septic near a lake. My house couldn't even fit in this town, in theory, but it's there. It's unnecessary, because the proof is here that houses can exist already without this lot envelope, and it's just been a pain, and it's holding up building, it's added to building costs and pushed prices up. Case in point would be Mill Pond. They had to put the lot envelope behind the power lines in the back of the lot. There's an 800-foot driveway. They've got to put 800 feet of power lines at $29 a foot, plus the conduit underground. There's $40,000, $50,000 of extra cost added to that house, and that's pushing the house prices up. Our house prices are now over $900,000 for a new home. $904,375 as of a couple days ago when I recalculated this. We're going in the wrong direction. This is making us go in the wrong direction. We need to make bold changes to help housing affordability, make things work better. I think striking this is an excellent step in that direction, and being bold and making changes. If we find that, wow, there's a surge and a flood of people coming in and thousands of lots being built, then we could change this next year. But let's make a change now in this housing crisis. Now's the time to act. And I think this is
So we can
one
have a
problem.
burst, go.
So I will comment on that as well. We're also in the middle of a master plan update. We are doing, we're gathering input from the community in order to figure out what the community wants. To me, it feels like this is not the time to make bold moves, because we're in the middle of figuring out what our master plan is going to guide us to do. And I understand that there's, a housing crisis and people want to be reactive in certain ways. But I think that we will be able to make better informed decisions about what the people in this town really want after we've got the results of all the efforts that we're currently undertaking to assess that. And so I think this is a little bit premature to strike an entire section, you know, an entire part of our zoning ordinances before we've gone through this process that we're going through now. And again, I don't think that the wetland setbacks are adequate for protecting the, you know, critical habitats that we have in town. So making a big move like this is even less
This
desirable
doesn't
to me.
change the wetlands.
I know it doesn't change the wetlands themselves, but I am uncomfortable making a big, bold move, as you said, without ensuring that our wetlands are better protected from side effects from that. Once you damage a wetlands, there's no coming back. And one of the things that makes Nottingham so special is that we have, you know, natural open space with an abundance of wildlife that you can't find elsewhere in this entire state. It's incredibly, exceptionally rare. And the fact that we have something like that is worth protecting in town, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
So the motion's been made and seconded. Are there any further discussion?
According to your chart, it looks like 20 might be a suitable number, at least at this point in time, to look at it from your viewpoint. I was just going through the zoning regs, and I don't find where the wetland setbacks are, so I'm assuming we're using,
Wetland overlay, the Wetland Conservation District overlay is where
Yeah,
they
but-
describe those wetbacks, or
does it,
wetlands, excuse me. God,
yeah, well,
Jesus.
I thought I looked at that, but I didn't see numbers. So I'm wondering if the numbers that Glenn used on here were the, if you
So
will,
here, if you
federal or
look
state.
under,
No, it's ours, so we have
Sorry.
critical wetlands are 100
Well,
for,
no, I mean on his.
oh, on his, yeah, he's got different ones for poorly drained and very poorly drained soils, cause I do think we have a,
Is that ours?
yes, it is. It's, and it's also in the, I think there's an RSA on it, but it's under.
Yeah, well, that was my
Um,
point, was it was something that was federal or state or something.
Well, there are state setbacks for septics and things from, and housing and lakes,
Yeah,
shoreland, et cetera. So there are several layers of state protections
Okay.
already in place, so
Okay.
this is just a
Understand.
redundant one.
well,
in
but
our
you can
town.
see that, you know,
so.
Epping, for example, only has 15 feet of wetland setback. So there's, you know, the whatever state requirement is there is not very protective. So yeah, we are doing better than the state. We're
And
not
it-
doing the bare minimum.
And it depends on what type of wetland it is, what the wetland classification.
Right.
So
Quite a bit.
the portion that I'm looking at is, it's on page 16. It's Article 3, Part B 11, no, I'm sorry, 12. It says, no other structure shall be built or maintained less than 50 horizontal feet from any poorly drained hydric B soils and less than 75 feet horizontal feet from any very poorly drained hydric A soils. So that's where the 75 and the 50-foot setbacks come from.
And I'll say that organizations like the Piscataqua Regional Estuary Partnership, who, you know, has provided us a grant to update our natural resources inventory, their suggested minimum wetland setback for any town in the Piscataqua region watershed to help protect water quality is no less than 100 feet. So we're at half of what the suggested is in order to protect groundwater,
Poorly drained.
pollution. What's that?
On-
For
on
just poorly drained, yeah.
Not very poor.
Very poorly is usually a, you know, higher amount, but I don't
Right.
know if PrEP has a suggestion for very poorly drained. Mr. Evans?
I'm extraordinarily confused by the fact that you could build a septic system 2 feet above seasonal high water table, yet we have to be 1,000,000 feet away from it on the ground when the septic is going straight down
It doesn't.
It doesn't go straight.
It doesn't.
2 feet away.
It doesn't.
If I,
I'm telling you, okay, so
Okay.
I deal with this every day.
okay, thank you for
The-
clarifying. I need to
typical-
hear this, how this
Okay.
works.
The typical system, stone and pipe,
Yep,
needs to be 48 inches above the seasonal high water. So you know, you've got 4 feet, 2-bed bottom.
Yep.
Then you've got anywhere from 6 to 18 inches of stone and gravel, and then the pipes.
Yep.
Okay, so you're talking a minimum of 5 feet there, right?
Yep.
So that's fine. Seasonal water table generally follows the contours of the land, right? So one of the things about when you have leachate is that it also will follow the shape of the land. So if your high water table is coming up like this,
Mhm.
you know, okay, you're down, you're 4 feet above it here. This is going to leach out over a certain period, over a certain distance, based on a bunch of different calculations. But that 50 feet is so that the nitrates, nitrites, and bacterial load are absorbed into the ground as opposed to sheet flow right into the water. If it is closer to the water table, you can deal with that by using separate types of septic systems. The state will allow much shorter distances, like the 2 feet you're talking about, for sealed, enclosed, aerated systems that have biofilters, that have all this other stuff that they claim you could technically drink the water out of it. I wouldn't recommend it, but
Right.
that's, you know, when they're talking about you've got a 2-foot separation, again, 2-bed bottom to a sealed container
Okay.
that needs to be pumped out.
Well, 2 or 4 feet compared to 75 feet from a wetland, 50 feet from a wetland is what I was kind of, the point I was getting at. So what I'm understanding you're saying is that there's people up in the state of New Hampshire, DES, that actually determine how and where and
Yeah.
what's safe for
Yeah.
our environment. And it's not an arbitrary number that we're throwing, 75, 100, 150. It's a real number based on engineering and design. Okay,
Required.
required.
Like, you know, in order for a septic system to be designed, somebody has to be licensed by the state, have those calculations, be able to do that sort of math to figure out exactly where, you know, those leachate plumes are going to be, how far they're going to be, everything like that. You know, it's a big deal. So, yeah, the 50 feet, the 75 feet are not just, looks good to me. It's actually based on science.
Okay, Mr. Arsenal?
I just want to point out that this section E is underneath the following words. It shall be a zone of low density residential and agricultural uses consistent with the vision of the master plan to retain Nottingham's rural landscape. And I would feel very uncomfortable changing that tonight, if that's why it's there, if that's what it's doing.
Yeah, and I'll say for me, I'd be much more comfortable slightly relaxing the setbacks and seeing where that gets us, as opposed to just striking this entire upland requirement.
I'm okay with baby steps, but giant, no.
Any further discussion?
Would,
Well, I mean,
Sorry,
I was gonna say the setbacks, if we're not gonna adjust any of this because of the master plan, we shouldn't adjust the setbacks either, and just roll with it for a year, not make any changes.
okay. Any further discussion?
I will,
Mr. Griswold, we have 2
Would-
minutes to
yep.
get this done.
would people be opposed to dropping it to 20,000 instead of 30,000 to better match, you know, some of
Your
the
chart.
surrounding towns?
I
Me
wonder,
pers- Yeah, Mr. Evans?
I wonder if the point is really that you're taking all this perfectly beautiful buildable land and throwing it away with the way this works, because you're taking that 30,000 square feet and having to put it into the existing setback instead of putting it somewhere on the lot. Like, what if we said, hey, we need 30,000 square feet on a lot to fit all this stuff, and didn't deduct the setbacks from there, because it's of this, it makes no sense. It's like a extra extra layer on top of an extra layer. And we've seen it dozens and dozens of
Chris,
times become a problem.
I understand, but the situation was what it was called before. It was a building lot envelope. You can't build in the setbacks, so
Right.
it was wrong. We changed it, and now there's more thought in whatever that goes through with this, and it's not.
We changed it and it's still broken.
It doesn't matter whether it's still broken or not, we're still trying to fix it. And the point is, using the setbacks is probably not important in this anymore, as long as it doesn't say building lot envelope. Or 20,000 or whatever. To me, the way I look at this, I appreciate what Drew's saying, but this doesn't really, whatever the wetland setbacks end up becoming is one thing, but this particular thing, if it disappears, I'm good with it from the standpoint that any of the problems that exist with it are now gone. I'm also excited about the fact that non-conforming lots disappear. We don't have non-conforming lots anymore. Like your lot will no longer be non-conforming for this characteristic.
I was gonna say, it'll still be non-conforming for other reasons.
For other
but-
reasons, but not this one, okay? So for that, I see a good reason to delete this whole thing. But I'm willing to go the 20,000 square feet, which is kind of what I looked at from your drawing anyway. And
So,
The motion on the floor is to strike it, we're gonna vote on that one. If that motion fails, then what we'll probably do is table this to the next, to the future meeting, to the next time we can have old business, and then retake it up, because we don't have any more time after this vote. So, the current vote is to strike it entirely. If that vote fails, we can continue this discussion until the next time we're able to, okay?
Could I amend my motion?
Not at this point. But like I said, this isn't going off the table. We are going to, after this, we're going to, essentially table it until the next meeting so that we can make a new motion then, but we're out of time tonight. So, that said, all those in favor of striking that item entirely, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, I think that passed.
4-3.
4-3. Okay, so we have
people can.
made that change, and now it should be moved to the public hearing if somebody would like to do that.
I'll
Okay,
make
is
that
there a
motion.
second to move that?
Second.
yeah.
There's a second by Mr. Griswold. All those in favor of moving that amendment to the public hearing on December 10th, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Any abstain? All right, that motion carries.
Can
So,
I add a quick one?
a quick motion? Sure,
Quick
adjourn?
motion?
yeah.
I'd like to add into, on page 28, Article 4, Home Occupation G, Permitted Uses,
Which page are you on, I'm sorry?
28.
28.
Four G, three, huh?
Uh, Article 4, G, Home Occupation 1, and then add in an E.
It's already an E.
Yeah, but E is that other.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so insert a new E that deals with service companies. I don't really know how to say this, but it's those businesses, those home occupations that provide a service to its customers, not a product. And it provided outside of the home. We have a lot of places in town.
So
Lot
that
of
would be
home-
C.
Huh?
C
That would
already
either
talks
be
about
under B
service.
or C.
If you read that carefully, that would appear to be things that are done in your house. I'm talking about stuff that is done not in the house.
Could that be added to section C? Under the existing services?
I don't know the answer to that. That list seems to be pretty much home-based to me. I'm talking about ones that are not home-based. Builders,
So-
for instance. Plumbers. Farriers.
But wait a second, so that should fall under B, professional offices. So you're basically doing your bookkeeping at home for a service that's
Yeah.
outside. So that should be covered under B.
But that's only the
Unless-
professional aspect of it.
Unless you want to, under C, add in skilled trades.
Again, C seems to be at home. I'm looking,
I want to pause real quick, sorry. So we are actually, our motion is,
Right.
yep,
so you should make a motion for us to discuss this, and then we'll decide if we want to stay longer and discuss it. Like, don't just go into what you want the changes to be. So there's been a motion to discuss Article 4, Part G, Section 1.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
sorry.
All right, I hear a second. Any further, the floor is open to discussion on this item.
Yeah, I don't wanna take too much time, but clearly in the permitted uses, there isn't something like Mr. Ryan here that allows him the capability to do what he does at home, which is not at home necessarily. It's outside.
What parts of that operation wouldn't fall under one of these? do you suppose?
Everything that I see here is done inside the premises.
Yes, but like a construction business, what home occupation aspect would there be? Like parking a work truck, like what other things are there? This is a genuine question. What else would involve the home for a business like a construction business?
Storage of materials, vehicles, parking, your
Okay.
billing.
Vehicles that are labeled primarily.
Yep, okay.
It looks like something's going on there. It would be considered a home occupation, but it isn't now in the permitted uses. And it seems like it should be, and we don't have to vote on that tonight, because I don't have good words for this yet, but because of what's here. But those businesses, those occupations that are not accomplished at the home, at the residence, but accomplished elsewhere in the communities.
May I suggest on item C that we add construction and related trades into that item, services, and just to expand that definition perhaps?
But that, it doesn't make sense, because the construction is not an in-home occupation. The bookkeeping of a construction office
Correct.
would be, but calling it, you're not doing the construction there, you're doing it outside of the home.
A lot of the service companies that perform maintenance on this building are from residences in town,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing that reflects them in this new set of circumstances. 2013, apparently it changed, and they were in there. Those service industries were in there.
So
So do we want to just add and service industries to part C?
I don't think that's gonna capture it. I've gone through this a million times, and every one of them are home-based, and this occupation is performed outside of the home. Is there a better terminology for it, or, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, I mean, I guess I see your point.
vehicle, I mean, I think
You gotta be careful of that though, cause you can have some
Right.
serious storage of materials,
Yeah,
you know.
Right, that's
I-
the flip
I mean,
side is that.
I rent a place to keep my materials, cause I love
Yeah.
the way this town looks, I don't just wanna load it up with shelves,
It
so.
talks about that in E and F.
Yeah.
I think you should leave it, because honestly, it's, I'd leave it alone. I mean, granted, I'm in it, I'm doing it, but I try to make sure purposely that it's neat and clean and not
I
overwhelming.
understand, but all it takes is one person to bitch it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
It's out.
Danny pointed out that in section 3, it pretty much covers that. Home occupation shall be carried on by the occupant, shall be incidental and secondary to the use of the property as a dwelling, limited to no more than 25% of the gross floor area, residential appearance, the use shall not change the residential character of the dwelling, and not more than one commercial vehicle may be kept overnight outdoors on the premises.
Screwed there.
Yep.
I
Like-
got I got a few of them.
right, and maybe that's the piece that needs to be addressed, F. 3F.
Well, that's one, but it's. We can think on it. I wanted to put it out there. There's a problem in town right now. And
We can move to, you know,
Continue.
continue this and, you know, to the next time that we
That's
have
fine.
old business, if you'd like. I'd prefer to do that, cause I can't
That's
think
fine.
right now.
I thought it might be easy, that's all.
No, why would you think that?
Things everywhere.
Kiss of death right there, Skip.
So would you like to,
adjourn?
motion to continue that discussion until?
Continue that.
Okay.
We can cross out that whole motion and go back to nine.
Well, if you want, we can stop the, you know, whichever you wanna do, but we should either table it or get rid of it. Which one?
Table.
Okay, there's been a motion made to table this discussion.
Second.
There's a second. Any further discussion on tabling this motion?
No.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? That motion carries. All right, I would really like to wrap this up now.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Hi.
All right, thank you, everybody.